All right, the first Collision of 2025. Now, I know someone had asked me, "Hey, dude, are you going to do one of these shows that's from New Japan, like Wrestle Kingdom or Wrestle Dynasty?" I was thinking about Wrestle Kingdom 19. I think that's what it is, 19. But knowing how long that damn thing is, and one of the major problems I was going to have, which people don't understand, if you do not watch a show all the time, you don't know who's there. And unless it's people you recognize, you're flying blind. And me being very bad at names, and particularly Japanese names, it becomes frustrating. Unless I watch New Japan and I'm used to it, I wasn't sure about New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom. Now, Wrestle Dynasty, I was considering that. Maybe I might actually watch it tomorrow because it's going on right now. I may watch it tomorrow, and then I may at least give my thoughts on it. Not really a major review of it because I'm sure there's not going to be everybody that I'm going to recognize. There may probably be Japanese or Mexican wrestlers or American wrestlers. I'll probably know some of them, but probably not all of them. So I'll probably watch Wrestle Dynasty, then Wrestle Kingdom. But this is not Wrestle Dynasty, not Dynasty, not Kingdom. This is Collision. And I know very few people are reviewing it. I know just Alex is not reviewing it. I know JD is not reviewing it. I don't even know if Solomon is reviewing it. But I decided to review it because it is the first show of 2025. And it is the first show on Max. This is the main reason I'm doing it. I don't know about anyone else. Maybe JD did review Collision once in the last couple of weeks, so maybe he did review this. But let's open. We got Garcia versus Mark Briscoe for the TNT title. Now, I kind of wish they'd done more building for this, but if it was built, it might have been done on Rampage, which is no longer in existence, at least for now. Because I don't remember seeing it on Dynamite. But I have to admit, I haven't watched Collision a lot either. Haven't watched it much. So if they've been building this up with Daniel Garcia and Mark, I missed it. It was a good match. Mark lost. Daniel won. Now, do I believe Mark Briscoe should have won? Months ago, yes. You could have said months upon months ago when he was part of the conglomerate, he could have won the TNT title from the scapegoat, but it was Dan Garcia. And I didn't expect him in his first title defense to job here. If he jobbed here, that means they had no confidence in him. And either it was, one, they had no confidence, or two, it would have been Jack Perry to screw him over to lose that title to Mark. But there was no Jack Perry, and I kind of thought, oh, maybe Jack's going to show up. No. So this is what we got. Next, Jeff Jarrett versus Solo. Let me give it to you like this. And I know there's going to be people saying, oh my gosh, is Jeff Jarrett really trying to become a champion? And I'm looking up to the ceiling right now like, really? Now, mind you, as it stands, if you watched his segment on Dynamite, he made it very clear. This is his last run. He's not signing another contract after this. Whether it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, he's done. When the contract expires, well, at least expires, if he doesn't become a worker in the back, because I do believe what's going to happen, this might be the last year he's going to be an in-ring competitor, and he'll just work in the back from now on. That's what I think is going to happen, because he already has a position in the back as it is. So as it stands, this might be the last year he will be working as a wrestler, and then he'll be done kind of like with Bryan Danielson, which I still don't know if he's had his surgery yet. I think he's still waiting. But you get my point. We had a match that I didn't expect Jeff to lose, which he did not lose. He lost to Solo, who's really not cared that much about. But the question is, how far they're going to push Jeff? How far would they really go with Jeff? That's going to be the big question. I don't expect Tony to put a title on him, at least not the world title. I do think he could become a continental champion. He could become an international champion. Not think he should become a TNT champion, but he could become one of those. Unless you want to have him go up against Chris Jericho and become ROH champion, which he could. Moving on. Next match. And this is one I'm like, I feel sorry for Deonna Purrazzo. I wish she had gone back to TNA. Deonna Purrazzo versus Toni Storm with a Taya Valkyrie by her side. I'm going to say this again. I'm going to keep saying it until I get blue in the face. How in the bluest of blue fuck could the people in then WWE, because it's not then now, it's TKO, but then John Laurinaitis, Vince, and anyone else that was on Vince's side believed a 38 or 37-year-old Taya Valkyrie just didn't look good. Freaking woman's built like a damn... She's curvy, she knows how to talk, and she can wrestle. Damn it, man. I don't know how he managed to land that. Let's make it clear. How did he do it? How did Johnny TV, the actual guy, you know who he is, how did he land that beautiful woman? How did he? Boom! I'm shocked that she's not pregnant already. Unless she's done what Naomi did and have like an injector, a little device that was implanted in her arm to make sure she can never get pregnant, which maybe she did as well. How she has not had 10 kids by now. Because that is one hell of a thick-built woman. But the thing that kills me, that WWE didn't want to take someone who knew how to wrestle, who was a well-trained and could talk, and was incredibly beautiful physically. Not just the big boobs she had. She's physically a beautiful woman. The face, the butt, the legs. She looks great in the ring. And she talked damn well. It's just shocking that they wouldn't go there because she was old. At 37 years old, I believe. I would have smacked them in the face and then they'd break my neck. But I would have done it first. You know what was going to happen. It was a good match though. But Toni did win. What happens next? And there were things that happened after the match, of course. But what happens next? Where are we really going with Toni Storm? I'd rather see timeless Toni Storm. My tasteless Toni Storm. My tasteless Toni Storm right now. Because really, I know they're trying to rebuild her back up. And that's the wisest thing to do. Instead of just throwing her in there when literally... Well, technically, they could have thrown her just back because people wanted her back, but then they put it... But you see I'm botching here because of what they did with Rampage. I don't understand why Toni did that. It was stupid to put her on the show that's literally within 2 weeks or 3. It was canceled. What a waste of time. And if this was a situation where Toni was cold and they just need to rebuild her back up, it would have been understandable. But in this situation, it feels like they can rebuild her and they are rebuilding her, which in some forms is wise. But then, no. She should already be dealing with Mariah May, but Mariah May, she is not dealing with her now. And it's like, what now? I don't know. Moving on to the 4-way, I believe it's for the Casino Battle Royal. Commander. No. Should I even talk about this tag match? I should. Private Party versus Andretti and Lio Rush. I think the reason I don't want to really talk about this is due to the fact that Top Flight really didn't really have a chance to really have a real feud with them. They have arguments. They've been staring at each other, but actually have fights, a real fight with them, that didn't happen. You didn't see Action Andretti and Lio Rush just have a physical fight with them next to arguing with them and having a problem with them before they had the chance with this title match. And it feels like it's lacking that. It's what it needed. So when we see the match and then we see Top Flight with Earl Grey eating popcorn and supposedly got distracted, you knew they were going to lose, which they did. Lio and Andretti lost. So when the Fatal 4-Way happened, when we had Commander, we had Dante Martin, we had Brian Cage, and we had, who was it? The Beast Mortos. I thought I heard something over there. I can tell you this. It was a good match for what it was, but then it's like, What are we really doing here? Something that should have happened months ago or weeks ago. Interfering with each other's matches. I think that's what should have happened. Because what happened? Action Andretti and Leo come out, but then this should have had weeks. This should have happened weeks or months ago. It should have happened. It did not happen, and it felt forced. Like, we forgot to do something like this. We got to do it now. When you could have done it weeks or at least a month ago, where Action Andretti or Leo was already messing with Top Flight, already causing them trouble, already to the point where they're ready to throw hands, but then they don't. If you didn't want to hit each other, but at least causing interference from their own matches. We didn't get that, at least not on Collision and not on Dynamite. If it was on Rampage, I didn't see it. It should have been on them, but it's just me. Last match. Rated FTR with Cope. He's not called Cope. Versus the Learning Tree. I'm like, okay. We are putting the Learning Tree in the situation. With no build. No real full interaction between Adam Copeland and Chris Jericho. This is the first time these two have even been looked at each other. Calm. When you look at this situation, I don't think Adam Copeland had been on the screen with Chris Jericho at all when he first came back. And if he had, it was very brief. These two have almost no interaction at all. We've seen more about Christian Cage than we've seen Chris Jericho up against Adam Copeland. And this made me feel like, why didn't they build up into this? If you're going to build into the Death Riders, and I'll talk about Moxley in a minute, what he did with you-know-who, I'm like, they should have built up into this first. Yes, you are going to have to let him go through them, and you could make Chris Jericho as sarcastic as hell to mess with Cope. You could have. And then build it up as he's still dealing with Death Riders and keep saying, you see, you should have been listening to the Learning Tree as he's getting his ass whooped by the Death Riders. But no, we get this. And I didn't expect them to lose. It was a fine match. It was fine. But I didn't expect them to lose. But here's where Moxley messed up. In other words, Moxley done it now. I think that might be the best title. We see Adam about to talk, but he gets cut off by Moxley. Moxley said, his original promo he had was good. I liked it. Taking away from Wheeler Yuta getting angry at Jay White. I did like how he said, look, I have no problem with FTR, but you were stupid enough to mess with me. Now you're going to pay the price. But then you bring a friend. And he does put over Adam. Fine. So he says, now you're going to have to deal with the new AEW that I've created. I'm not letting nobody interfere with it. And just to mess with Adam and FTR, he grabs and holds and tapes up like this. I never thought that I would see the Rock and Roll Express be used. I didn't think so. Now, mind you, you know how they treat any legends. They do treat them well. But I didn't think I would see them this year. I didn't think so. But you got them there, tied up with duct tape, seeing that Ricky Martin get his tape ticked off. He said, I'm going to whip your ass, basically. And then tries to stick it back on, which just fell. And then you see the Outrunners trying to help, and they get the butts kicked. Moxley runs away with everybody else. And then Cope, the FTR come out, and they're trying to grab him. Pretty much Moxley's done it now. Let's make it clear. Moxley has done it now. He's now involved in Rock and Roll Express in North Carolina. You don't do that. You made people mad, which is all right. But will this translate over to Dynamite? Unless you have the Rock and Roll Express appear at Dynamite, this isn't going to work. You need the Rock and Roll Express, or at least Ricky Martin there. You need him there. It would be cool if his son was with him, but since he's part of NWA, he's not going to be part of it unless there's some type of deal between Tony Khan and Billy Corgan that allow his son to show up on AEW. I don't know if he will, but if he did, at least that would be something that could help Billy Corgan's promotion, and it would help Ricky to have his son there who could wrestle for him because he can't do it anymore because he's over 60, and it's not really good for him to be running in the ring anymore. He shouldn't be running in the ring. Not saying he can't, but he shouldn't. I mean, at this point, he could be a manager. He could be working in the back that could really be helpful for younger talent. But this is just me. This was okay. But Moxley done it now. But the question will be, what he's done now, will it translate to Dynamite? Don't know yet. Peace.